What is going on, soldiers? This is XpoZe, and today I have a video for you. I have a gameplay, a competitive gameplay. I am doing a scrim with a couple of people that have hit me up to run. We are playing on XpoZe, and we are playing Hardpoint. I go 36 and 15 to be exact, and honestly, I just ripped this game. I'm using the ICR with Elo sight. I'm using high caliber as well as stock, and I believe I have grip on it as well. But in this video, I kind of wanted to touch base a little bit on what I believe is the weapon balance and the specialist balance, as well as the map balance. What my thoughts are on the game exactly, and a tiny bit on my competitive situation, what I plan on doing. I would say first and foremost, we'll talk on the competitive situation. I am scrimming. I am planning on competing, and I plan on sticking it out with this game compared to other ones. I do enjoy this game, and we'll see where that takes me. But that's all I really want to get into about that. But let's talk about the guns. Let's talk about the game. So in this game alone, in this specific match that you're watching right now, 8 out of 8 players, 5 different guns are being used. The M8, the Kuda, the Pharaoh, the Vesper, and the ICR. I believe there are other guns throughout the game that people end up using as well. So if that doesn't say a little bit about weapon balance, I'm not sure what necessarily does. And the reason why I say that is every other COD, it's been the same guns over and over and over again. Call of Duty 4, it was the M16, it was the P90, and the MP5. Modern Warfare 2 is the ACR, the FAMAS, and the UMP. In Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 1, it was the FAMAS. Modern Warfare 3, it was the ACR and the PP90 or the MP7, the Bison. And then in Black Ops 2, it was mainly, it started off with a couple different ones, but when the PDW got nerfed, it ended up being the MSMC and the FAL until that got nerfed, and then the M8. And then obviously in Ghost, there was the guns that everybody used, the same ones, and we don't even have to talk about AW because we all know what guns we're using that. But yeah, so in this game alone, in this round alone, there are 5 different weapons out of 8 players, and I believe, like I said, more. So if that doesn't say a bunch about gun balance, I don't know what does. Again, it's early in the game, so this could change. It might very well change. But people are finding that there is no one necessary dominant gun. So while I have this, let's kind of get into what I'm using right now, which is the sight. That is my specialist streak. So every time I end up getting the specialist, which is influenced by the amount of kills and points you get at a certain time, that specialist bar around it starts going up, and it goes up over time as well. Basically, with those specialists, those help you a ton in competitive gameplay, just because, one, something like that helps you hold a hill by yourself when your whole entire team's on the other side, or it helps you break it. And I believe there are so many different ones that can be used to sufficiently help throughout a game, no matter the game mode. Now, in certain game modes, you're going to want to use others compared to maybe what's being used in this. Like Search and Destroy, I might want to use Overdrive instead of the Scythe, because the Overdrive will actually help me get to some place on a rush a lot quicker than maybe if I have the Scythe, when I can just kind of only run around and walk as slow as possible. So each specialist you use has a reason behind it, and obviously I think what's going to happen is they're going to make it so that each team can only use one of each individual specialist, rather than having 4 scythes or 4 overdrives or annihilators or whatever the case may be. So I believe that's going to be huge, and I really enjoy that. As far as the maps I would say are pretty evenly made. I would say a lot of them are very symmetrical. There are some that are obviously not, and you can't really make a map symmetrical unless they all look like Halo's map. And that's obviously not a diss at Halo, because I love Halo. But they don't really have any context to them. It almost looks like someone just created them and didn't put any any sort of like fountains in there, or there's no buildings with detail and stuff like that. It just kind of looks like somebody made the map specifically for competitive gameplay. And obviously Treyarch, and we can't expect them to, didn't do that. But as far as the maps, they are pretty evenly matched throughout the entire game. I think that any map at any time could be used. And I think that's extremely refreshing for Call of Duty. Between all these different guns being used, between the addition of specialists, as well as score streaks and different maps being used consistently, I think that is going to help the game tremendously when it comes to viewership. Because let's be real, when you watched AW, or when you watched Black Ops 1 for that matter, certain games really just got really stale because it was the same map, it was the same guns, it was the same things over and over and over again. But when it came to Black Ops 2, it was something completely different. Yes, it was kind of the same maps over and over again, but some of the guns were a little bit more of a variety than Black Ops 1. There were score streaks added into it, so there was a random element that not a lot of people knew was coming. And in this, it's going to be the same thing, but now it's going to, all that's going to be added into the possibility of being on different maps. So I think that's huge for the game. I hope it stays like that. GB already put out a map set. Is that going to is that set in stone and going to stick? No, it could change. It's obviously viable to change, but as of right now, those are the maps that they think are best. Will we use them? Most likely. Will it stay that way? Probably not. We'll see. We'll see what happens, and those are just the hardpoint maps that I'm aware of. But I personally think any map at any time could be a competitive map. Compared to others where you just knew right off the bat of playing it, no, this is not going to be a competitive map. You're not going to play hardpoint on this and COD Champs. It's just not going to happen. Whereas in this game, I don't really see one that's just a no. I see ones that I don't like, but I don't see any that I don't think will be a competitive map. So I think that's huge. I think that's great. I think that Treyarch did a great job on that. As far as the game in general, I think the mechanics are really well. The engine is a lot better than past engines that I've played on. Obviously, I can feel that they tweaked it a little bit. They had the same premise, but they changed a little, some little things in it. Also, I would say that the registration is great on the guns. Registration is great in the hitboxes. That's great. There's some things that need to be worked on, like the in-game friends list, I would say would be definitely #1, because there's just glitching with that. I would say the pick ban system needs to be fixed. One, they need to change the timer on it. It's just way too long to play competitive scrims with, or go into a match with. It takes way too long, so they have to think of a way to shorten that up. And I would say also with the pick ban system, even when you ban it, it doesn't necessarily ban, so... but yeah, there's my thoughts on the game. There's my thoughts on the balance and everything of the weapons. If you guys did like this, please feel free to leave it a like. If not, as always, please do whatever it is you feel. Subscribe if you haven't. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.